Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us with Divine Numbers and Theories, a place where thinking outside the box is the new common sense that we're finding, huh? I'm your host, Sharon Kasleka, and I'm super excited for our next guest. But before I introduce her, I want to encourage you, please, I would love your support. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm ready to go to town. I am interviewing hometown heroes across the country, other special guests. It's going to be amazing. Lots of people that had experiences at the Trump rallies, gematria, numerology, conspiracy theories. We're going to cover everything. So I love this stuff. But without further ado, I would love to introduce my next guest, Miss Jessica Watkins. You may know her from my previous interview with her and Mickey Q. They both were January 6ers imprisoned for nonviolent crimes. So I want to encourage you to check that out. But today we've got some juicy stuff. So I would like to introduce you to her a little bit here. So Jessica Watkins is an Afghanistan veteran. Her unit was the 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. She's a former firefighter and EMT, an Oath Keeper medic during BLM riots, and did 4 years and 3 days in prison for nonviolent acts on January 6th, which again, you can find here with my previous interview with her and Mickey Q. This is juicy, you guys, while in prison, she was a few bunks down from Ghislaine Maxwell and worked in the education department. Also, we are going to be discussing the topic of transsexual and how she is a firm believer that this should not be pushed on our youth and our children. So I'm really excited. We're going to get right into this. And welcome, Miss Jessica.
Thanks for having me. Good to be
Thank
back.
you. Yeah, I love your background. We need to have like a girls' slumber
Thanks.
party. It
I'm,
just looks
I'm
so
into
like
it.
PJs and all that. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And again, thanks for taking the time because I know you're a crazy busy lady. And how about we just get into it? Can you share a
Sure.
quick recap on what happened in 10 minutes or less on January 6th, how it started all wonderful, and then how it went sideways for you?
Sure. So I got involved with the Oath Keepers in 2020 during the BLM riots, like you were saying. I went to 9 of those. We were protecting local businesses and assisting law enforcement, providing medical attention. I was there as a medic. Um, so I
Thank you
went
for
to nine
that.
of those. Yeah, of course. Had to be done as far as I was concerned. It felt like nothing was being done, especially from like a lot of the local law enforcement are taking a knee while buildings burn. And so that didn't sit right with a lot of us. Um, so we dove in to help. Uh, when that when the 2020 election was stolen, which I do believe it was stolen, um,
Absolutely.
when that happened, Antifa started coming to the Trump rallies, to the Stop the Steal rallies. They were attacking people. They were attacking children and old folks and stuff. So we started going to those rallies to escort people back to their vehicles, back to um, their hotels. And so that's how I got to January 6th. I was there to protect VIPs and podcasters and stuff. We escorted them from the president's speech at the Ellipse, got them to the Capitol building. We had a permit, we had background checks. We did everything we were supposed to do. We
Nice.
escorted our folks there. And then after we dropped them off, we're like, okay, let's go check out the rally. We were on the east side of the Capitol, and we didn't arrive till about 2:30. So we missed all the violence and everything that happened on the West Terrace. People were already in the building, although we didn't know that at the time.
Hmm.
So we walked up the stairs and we sang the national anthem. We're filming and walked up to the top of the stairs, saw people walking in. I was dumb enough to follow. Um, while we were in there, Kelly Meggs, Kenneth Harrelson, Joe Hackett, Connie Meggs, rescued Officer Harry Dunn, prayed for America, and then they left. Those are my co-defendants, the other Oath Keepers.
Hmm.
Um, I lost a little objectivity, and I was kind of just wandering around and checking out paintings and things, but I did stop vandalism. Um,
Nice. Thank you for that.
uh, yeah,
All of
a
you.
old lady breaking glass, and so I made her stop. It's not as heroic as it sounds, but it pissed me off.
Yeah.
So Then I kind of got swept up in the protests, chanting slogans and stuff. Cops just started attacking people in the hallway. I kind of got smushed in there. And so when the cops pepper sprayed everyone, I ran. Then I started grabbing people and dragging them out. Set up a little triage area, was kind of helping the injured. And then the curfew order
Awesome.
came out, said we have to leave. And so we left. That was it. For that, they charged me with seditious conspiracy, destruction of government property, and obstruction, conspiracy, all these charges, all of them completely false. Uh, they were seeking a life sentence for seditious conspiracy and destruction of government property. They
Are
wanted
you?
me to plead guilt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Think about that,
Um,
people. Wow.
so think about what's going on with all these ICE raids. They literally had a shooting in an ICE raid. They're throwing bricks, bottles, rocks. They're attacking the officers. None of those people are going to face a life sentence.
It,
Well,
it,
actually, I hope they do under this
yeah. It's
administration,
so
but
backwards, though. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I was found not guilty on seditious conspiracy, found not guilty of destruction of government property. I was half a mile down the road. It was 30 minutes before we got there. They destroyed this door. We had nothing to do with it, but they charged us with it anyway. Our jury found us not guilty on that as well. Um, So I ended up getting sentenced to 8.5 years for the obstruction, conspiracy, and conspiracy to obstruct, which the Supreme Court later threw out. So essentially, I did 4 years and 3 days for a civil disorder charge, where I probably should have gotten a fine, maybe a month or two in lockup at most.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
I, I didn't even have a parking ticket prior to January 6th. I'm an outstanding veteran. Um, I support law enforcement. So it was really overstepping. I feel like it was an overstep. I feel like
Meanwhile,
I
they
was
let rapists and stuff like that out the next day, out in California or wherever. And here you are, an
right.
outstanding citizen and helping and pitching in and making sure people are safe. And that happened. So clearly there's way more going on behind the scenes.
For sure. And then the January 6th Select Committee made an example out of me and the other Oath Keepers. They dragged our names to the mud. They talked about us, me personally, in 3 of their hearings. Um, During our trial, no less. The opening days of our trial, they held an emergency hearing and they named every defendant in that courtroom and accused us of seditious conspiracy, which I have no doubt, no question in my mind that they were trying to tamper our jury. The January 6th Select Committee is literally directly across the street, the courthouse, like you can see the Capitol building from there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they knew what they were doing. That was a
Yeah.
dirty beltway trick. They were trying to rig our jury. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, I was sentenced to 8.5 years for crimes that the Supreme Court admitted I did not commit. So, um,
I'm just
yeah,
so sorry that all that time. I mean, I think about just the last 4 years of my life and just, I think we all look back like it just, for you to have to go through that. I can't wait for people to hear your story. And I know there's a lot of people out there that already know your story, but I mean, like, really know your story to set the tone as an example that there's literally good versus evil in our government. And I'm just so, so grateful for our current administration getting down to the bottom of everything because honestly, I say this all the time, Jessica. So why is it that our leaders in government are always fighting? What? No wonder why everyone is fighting and, it's awful. If our leaders can't get along, no wonder why the people aren't getting along. And we need to bring, kindness and support and love and bringing communities back together instead of just scrolling on our phones and allowing this evil program to get you locked into disassociating with everyone and getting involved. I mean, it's just so sad what our world has turned into. Do you agree? I
I, I,
mean,
I totally agree. I don't know. I've, it's the swamp. So
yeah,
I've
yeah.
lost a lot of faith in our institutions, uh, FBI and all that. They're very politicized now, and
Yeah.
IRS. I mean, the Department of Education. There's no administration in the swamp that I trust. none of
I'm
them.
glad you brought that up as well as the Department of Education, because real quick, I don't want to get into it too much because I want the show to be about your story. But long story short, my daughter was going into her senior year in high school, and I was catching the live on Facebook, and you'll get exactly what I'm about to say. So one, this is how they normalize separating and labeling and all that. I mean, we all got to get away from it because it's a program to keep us divided. But what had happened was they were separating the parents on who was for wearing masks and no masks. And here I am going off in the comments going, "You're giving your parental rights away," and they didn't even get it. I'd say probably 70% of the people were all for it. But here's the interesting thing, and not one person picked up on this, and I did, and I got laughed at in the town of Amherst, New Hampshire, at Sauhegan High School. Um, three different times, Jessica. Normally, when they bring the parents up to the podium, they'd be like so and so, parents of so and so, and um, three times they called them customers. This is how they start normalizing things. They call them customers. And of course, me, Jessica, I'm in the comments going, "You're all customers now. You're not even parents." But the parents are so busy, crazy. You know what I mean? It went right over their head. And let me tell you, I got laughed at quite a bit. I didn't even go to my own daughter's graduation because she was so embarrassed by me. She wanted to, I fought really hard for her to not get that because I had done my research. But, they deeply program the kids to be like, "I want to feel safe." And so she just couldn't stand me. And, I would have loved to have been there, but there's no way I would have gone there um, with her being embarrassed by me and just everyone like, "Shh, shh, shh, oh, there's Sharon. Oh, yeah, she's a little crazy. So I want to thank you for saying that because it's those little things that the parents don't pick up on that they're slowly grooming the parents as well. Would you agree?
I mean, I don't have any children, but I would agree that like they've normalized parents being removed from the equation as far as education is concerned.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of this during the COVID lockdown stuff when they were doing the virtual meetings where they were, bullying parents and into compliance and,
Mm-hmm.
or mocking children who have MAGA parents, things
Yeah.
like that nature. So I think 2020 opened a lot of people's eyes into what's actually going on in these kids'
Yeah.
classrooms.
And it was so sad too. Our kids are so uncomfortable with everything to begin with. So you throw that into the mix, it's just, I look at the average kid nowadays, Jessica, let's say a 10-year-old, half their lives were supposed to be all fun and, nature and just learning. And look what they got stuck in. Stuck between their friends and family, all fighting with each other over this in an election. I mean, I just
Right.
wish they could
And then
turn
they're in
back
fear, they're
time.
in terror. I mean, look at what they do with like, say, not to shift gears, but like the
Yeah,
climate alarmism, right? They're like freaking these kids out that they're going to die in 10 years because the earth is going to catch fire. Like
it's
they're
so
freaking these
sad.
kids out on purpose, but it's
Yep.
deliberate, in my opinion. It's deliberate
Oh,
to radicalize these
absolutely.
kids and to get them into activism.
Absolutely. Like little mini Greta Thunbergs. I mean, if parents don't look
Exactly.
at that from a common sense standpoint, that you are putting a little girl up on a pedestal who's getting fed information between her ears to just, she's a tool. She's a tool to make the
Right.
kids think that they can be just like her and stand up for the right thing when it's totally opposite, and they want to turn
Right.
all the other kids into little mini Greta Thunbergs. Um, Gosh, it's just so sad. I just wish they could turn back time so they could enjoy their youth again. And I don't see that happening. Yeah,
No. And what's even sadder is these kids are going to be parents someday soon, decade,
that's a good point.
so and what are
Jeez.
their kids gonna when they tell stories about their childhood, what's it gonna be? Terror, fear, right?
I'm
That somebody is
Thank you
gonna
for
come and
saying that.
mass shoot up their school and that the world is gonna catch fire and that there's a genocide in Gaza, or America's racist, or just pick a thing like the transsexual thing, like we were talking about, like they want
Yeah.
to trans the kids, like the grooming,
It's
the
just messed up.
sexuality, all of it is just like this
Yeah.
bombardment. We dump all this on the plate of a child who can't even comprehend these things.
I'm so glad you're saying this because I think you and I had talked on the side, and I think it kind of falls into your transsexual situation. I'm just really proud of you looking out for the kids because there's enough, like you said, there's
It
enough
has to be done.
confusion. And not only that, Jessica, think about this. When you turn on, I mean, thank goodness the last 4 years taught me something to stop listening to commercials because all it is just telling you you're fat, you're ugly, you're in debt. And every other commercial, now I'm seeing all the commercials of anxiety and depression. It's not just for the kids, now the parents, and they're all like, it's a program. I mean, when I
It
moved out
is.
here to Utah, all the kids act the same. They are like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a program for all these kids. They are acting monkey see, monkey do, and
Well,
the
they used to tell us
propaganda.
that, right? They used to back to your regularly scheduled programming, and now they
They
just
say it right
don't
in
talk about that
your face, a
anymore.
program. And yeah, and a few of my friends back east, they're kind of laughing. They're like, okay, I think I can think for myself. I'm like, well, just go back and look at your habits and what you say and what you do because you're getting it from somewhere. And it's the
Right.
same program for kids. So it breaks my heart. But real quick, so for some of our viewers, Jessica and I, we've talked about this, but my mother and my aunt both passed from breast cancer. So when the Angelina Jolie news came out, I opted for the same surgery to prevent breast cancer. It's called a prophylactic double mastectomy. And basically, they removed all my breast tissue. They were decent at one time. But long story short, I kept going to the doctor within a couple years and I was still pretty young. And it sent me in, what I found is it sent me into perimenopause and then full blown menopause. But I kept going to the doctor and I said, what's going on with my body? Does this have anything to do with my surgery? And I kid you not, I remember exactly what she said. There seems to be no evidence. So I dug deeper and reached out to who now is a friend of mine. She is a holistic doctor, but she was a mainstream doctor for over 20 years. She actually, she was a doctor in Venezuela in war zones and everything in the ER room. So she knows her stuff. And she
Right.
ended up transitioning into holistic because she found that it was just a lot of it's a Ponzi scheme on the pharmaceuticals and things they want to do. But she's the one that told me that they do not perform mastectomies in other countries because they know women will go crazy. They know they will be stripped of all of their senses. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I was so glad that I had her because most women that I talk to, they don't have anyone to talk to because you're going through all these symptoms. You can barely think anymore. You're having hot and cold flashes all day long. You're trying to acclimate and get things done while this is going on. And I just had so many other issues that led me into the hospital and the ICU from it. And what I found is other women, I've got another friend out here, she was diagnosed, and I'm just stating for the record because I had a video taken down. This is my own personal opinion. This is all for entertainment purposes only. But what she had told me was single mom, father's not involved. She's got a good job. She can work from home. Her son Alex has had something like 20, 30 surgeries. He can't talk. The sweetest boy. So she's like, I got to figure something out. She ended up eating an all alkalized diet. And she ended up, I'm just going to let people read between the lines. She went back to the doctor, poof. You know what I'm saying? Just, and, but she ended up doing the mastectomy as well. And her and I were talking about it. And I said, did they go over any of the symptoms with you or anything? Because I don't recall it. They just told me I was, I had a 98% chance of not getting breast cancer now. Well, I can tell you right now from my own personal opinion, and again, this is for entertainment purposes only and our own opinions, because I don't want this to get shut down. Um, they they just don't tell you the symptoms. And I can tell you right now, if women knew the symptoms, they would not be getting it. Because I was suicidal. I'm like, oh my gosh, if this is living and I have to go through this the rest of my life, and I know there are other women that feel the same way. So I feel like this might lead into the transsexual and, surgeries and things that they're really pushing on children. And one thing I do want to clarify, because I've had this discussion with a few people. Some of my friends are like, I've never heard them pushing transgender, surgeries on children. Where are you getting your information? And I'm like, it's all over the news, and it's in your fake news, and it's in your, you know, truther news, if you want to say it. I mean, so
Sure.
I would love to hear your feedback on that whole topic and, regarding children and so forth.
Sure. So it is definitely happening. I can send you a graphic actually when this is over, that shows like the number of gender clinics that were in for pediatric gender clinics. They went from like 2 to like 500 in the span of half a decade. That's not an accident. Uh,
Wow, I didn't realize it was that
it's
many.
incredible. It's a lot.
Wow, that's
Uh,
scary.
they will tell you it's not happening, it's not happening, or it's super rare. I actually have the stats pulled up here. It says recent data suggests that 0.95% of American adults identify as transgender. Now, transgender
Wait,
is
can
an
you repeat that?
ideology.
Can you repeat that?
Recent data suggests about 0.95%, so almost one, just shy of 1% of Americans identify as transgender. That's a lot.
Do you
That's
know
one out
what
of
the st-
100.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean,
when I started transition in 2003, it was one out of 120,000.
yeah. Wow.
One out of 120,000. Now it's one out of 100. So that
So
right
again,
there
they're
shows you
normalizing it.
they're normalizing it. It's trendy, it's popular. People aren't doing it
So
because they have a
scary.
problem. They're doing it because it's a fad. It's terrible.
Yeah. Especially when they
So
want to have children someday and so forth. Like they don't, we didn't even know how to
these kids
change our
don't even
shoes.
have the capacity to think that far in advance. Now,
I
let me
know you
continue.
nag them with the lunch boxes. Like, don't forget your lunch box, and they can decide something like that. I mean,
Right. According to this, 2.3 million people based on the U.S. Census Bureau Household Pulse Survey. Among youth aged 13 to 17, the figure is higher, 1.4%, approximately 300,000 transgender youth identifying. For young adults under 25, estimates range up to 3%. That's 1 out of 33 people. There's no
that's
way this many people have got a problem. Now, I knew since I was little itty bitty, nobody groomed me. Like, I was 4 years old when I first started having problems.
I've heard
I
that.
was
And please know, I have nothing. I believe that if people want to be gay, transgender, and all that, just don't push it on the children and allow
right.
them to decide what's right for them when they are fully capacity, 18 and older. Come on. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel about it like this. Like, we have existed in some small capacity, I would think, for all of time, right? But you're talking about
Mhm.
like such a small percent of people. You're talking about what is it? 0.00083% of the population. That's the old number. One out of 120,000. So you're talking about a tenth of a tenth of a tenth of a tenth of an eighth of a percent. That is crazy. It might as well not even exist at that point. It's so rare.
Yeah.
Um, and we figure it out on our own time. It's not something you can just like shove onto somebody and expect them just to live some kind of meaningful life. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a
Yeah.
process where you have to come to terms with what is wrong with me and how do I solve it. Now, a lot of people will say that I am solving it the incorrect way, but here I am 22 plus years later. I have no regrets, completely happy living a normal, adjusted life. But that's not common, okay? A lot of
That's a
these
good
people,
point.
they're
That's a good point that it's not common. And I can vouch for you. You're a stand up. I mean, look at what you've done on January 6th and being in everything. I mean, you're an outstanding citizen. That's not normal.
absolutely. And yeah, and I served in the fire department as a female. So, and I didn't tell them and I just did my
Yeah,
job. I just did my duty. I went out there and I
I love it.
rescued people and put out fires.
That's
Um,
amazing. That's awesome. Thank you.
but it's uncommon. A lot of what we're dealing with now today is all, I believe it's a social contagion. You hear this a lot, this word social contagion, but the number doesn't go from 120,000 to 1 in 100 for nothing. You can't tell me 1 out of 100 people wants to like be the opposite. It doesn't make sense to me. It does.
Yeah.
It's not how. Anyway,
Yep.
when you start pushing this on children, so like I've seen videos. They say they're not pushing it on children. I've seen videos where they're like, "This is my 1.5-year-old transgender daughter. Are you? I want to slap the taste out of your mouth, lady.
Baby, some one and
Somebody
a
needs
half
to
year
call
olds are
Child
still
Protective
breastfeeding.
Services."
Think
Right.
about that.
They're doing it on
Ridiculous.
purpose.
It's so scary that the parents are so deeply programmed too.
A lot of it, like, and it's always, if you look at like it's always in liberal areas. You don't find this in conservative areas because it's not being
Mm-hmm.
pushed there. But you go out to Hollywood, every single actor's pretty much got a trans kid, right?
Yep.
It's
I'm glad you
popular.
said that because one of my neighbors in New Hampshire had a son that started dressing like, and this was before, the election, all
Right,
that stuff. And it wasn't really so prominent or in your face, but I'm like, good for you. You're allowing him to be what he wants. He was running around in a dress and all that. And I'm like, you know, good for you because it's up to the kid. Just don't push it on the kids. That's all.
that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's actually, if you ask me, the correct approach is to let your kid be a kid, right? So if your kid wants to
Yeah,
do that, they're just having fun. It doesn't mean that they got to go and have all these life-altering surgeries or change their name or all this stuff. A
that's
lot
a
of
great
kids, I
point.
firmly believe, will outgrow it if they're given the space to do so.
Mm-hmm.
It might be something they're into this week. It might be for a
Mm-hmm.
year, you know? But
Yeah.
kids are into Ninja Turtles and then they outgrow them,
That's a
right?
great
So a
point. I
lot of,
was just thinking about that, where, even at school, where all of a sudden they kind of switch to a different crowd or what have you, and then they're kind of pushed out of a crowd. I mean, this is really deep, deep, deep stuff that the parents have to think about, even to
right,
even contemplate it, because this is your child's well-being.
life, their
Yeah.
future. I
Would you
mean,
want
everything
them to
hinges
take
on
their
it.
life because they that would be
Right,
devastating to when if I were a full-blown adult that had that and you finally realize, oh my gosh, that was just a phase or what have you. And
right.
gosh, my parents didn't even really look out for my life as I got old. I can't even imagine what that would feel like to have to
What's
explain that to a kid.
worse, what's worse is the number of girls who are being convinced they're boys around the time puberty starts. So,
Mhm.
girl, you start getting your period and you start going through these changes, and a lot of girls just,
Oh,
especially tomboyish girls, right? They resist it and they're like, "Oh, tomboy, you hate your period, you must be a boy." Like, and so like they put it in their head. The most insidious argument the left makes, would you
mhm.
rather have a living daughter or a dead son? That whole, your
Yeah.
kid is going to commit suicide. I attempted suicide in my youth many
Yeah.
times, uh, and worse things.
I'm so glad you're here.
And I attempted suicide with a service weapon. The things that I suffered previous to transition were, but I had, this is all a lot of pre-internet stuff, so I had no understanding of anything that was going on. Like, why do I feel this way? I'd go to bed every night praying, God, either make me a girl or make me normal, pick one. And
Mhm.
it just wouldn't go away, wouldn't go away. Um, and so I did this, and this
Mhm.
for me worked. But a lot of these girls, a lot of these detransitioners, they were convinced, they were told, they were groomed. Hey, if you don't do this, you're going to kill yourself. That's not how you do patient care. You don't jump to the most extreme
No.
thing. So for me, you should encourage your kid to get over it. If your kid says, okay, if your son says, hey, I think I'm a girl, the question shouldn't be responded to with a yes or a no. It should be why. Why do you feel that way? Like,
Mhm.
ask your kid, challenge your kid. Why do you feel that way?
Mhm.
Like you can't, if you reject it, it could foster like a rebellious attitude, right? And then they
Mhm.
gravitate to it even harder. But if
Yeah.
you shove it on them and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm going to give you everything. We're going to throw all your boy crap away. We're going to give you a whole bunch of girl stuff," you could encourage it to continue because now they feel special. They feel like they're being put on a pedestal and treated differently because of it.
Yeah, like they're
That could
paying
encourage it to
attention to
continue.
me too, because that's one thing
Right,
also. I think we live in a society where the parents were are programmed to be working nonstop and not have that much time for their family.
right,
And everyone, I mean, when you think about evil, I use this for research and so forth. Once I awaken to the program itself, I use it how, but my point is that you think about how can I put it? Back in the day, the moms could be at home with the kids comfortably. It's a whole system and a program to make the cost of living so expensive that, and your schools are the babysitters and so forth. So I could
right,
totally understand, the kids feeling like, oh, well, this is just a way of attention because that's part of their
right,
programming on social media as well, is getting
right,
attention. Let's post another selfie and my food for the day. Like once I woke up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to post things here and there like that. But, you know,
right. Um, there was a meme I seen the other day. It said, girls used to keep a diary and be mad if you read it. Now they post it all on the internet and get mad if you don't. So,
wow. And let's not forget too, when we were growing up, well, I'm way older than you, but when we were growing up, it was put in our head, remember, whatever you post is out there permanently. And I
right,
can't
internet's
imagine
forever.
how many young adults and people now go back and look and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Like people will remember that for bad reasons, not the good reasons or the trendy
Sure,
reasons that I thought I was doing, right?
right.
Gosh,
Well,
that's so yeah,
it's
please
very
continue where
insidious.
you are on the why, like why they want to do
Sure.
that. And what would be your advice for the parents, the parents that truly are good parents and they don't fall for all that stuff, but they really are concerned? I mean, do you even feel that there's anyone they could talk to that's not pushing it?
I don't, I mean, it's hard for, because see, the thing is, yeah, I know there's a rare few like me out there, but really, frankly, this is a job for parents, not therapists.
I
Uh,
agree.
because the therapists are the ones who are pushing it all.
I'm
Transition.
glad you said that. And I don't mean it in a positive way. It just
Sure,
validates something that happened with my daughter. So please continue. I would like to hear.
sure. Uh, Transition, actually going through and medically changing uh your appearance. Like I will always be biologically male. I mean, that's just a fact, okay? So like it's not fair for me to do sports and all that, but we'll come back to that in a
Yep.
minute.
Yeah, that's a good
Transition
topic
should be
too.
a last resort, period. Like
Mhm.
that should be the last thing you try. So they should try to work it out. They should try to help you overcome your problems because I feel like most of these kids can overcome it with time. Um, they will see that this isn't some magic cure-all. This isn't like a magic wand that's going to fix you necessarily. A lot of these
Mhm.
kids have deep-rooted problems, the most terrifying of which is autism. The autism rates for these transgender youth is 75%. If that
Oh,
number don't make you sick, I don't know what does. Like you can't just,
whoa. Whoa.
yeah.
Never mind,
So it,
autism is off the charts to begin with. And here we're
right,
supposed to be living in a healthier. No, we're not. I mean, all it takes is a little common
right.
sense for people to recognize that it's kind of
Right. I
opposite.
mean, between the vaccines and the preservatives and the food and the growth hormones and all, who knows what the hell is causing it, but
Chemtrails. And don't forget about poisoning your lawn with all the chemicals. So when you do grow food
everything.
and when you roll around in the grass, you're just getting it everywhere. It's
We
messed
live
up.
in a toxic pool essentially. Like, uh, Anyway,
I can't even believe that I didn't recognize any of this. I think so many people, Jessica, on everything you just said, until the election and people just started awakening and doing their own independent research. I mean, last time I checked is we all went to high school and college and we learned how to recite and do our own research. You don't have to go look at someone on TV going, oh, that's the news. Like, use your own brains, you know?
right.
That drives me crazy. Shoot. I just lost my train of thought of what I was going to say about what were you saying right before that?
Oh, I was just talking about how like kids need to be able to challenge themselves, I suppose. And so,
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm glad you also mentioned that a lot of the counselors are the ones that are encouraging it on the children. Rights here.
yeah.
And then not only that, they also, this just makes no sense to me. And I'm so glad you're bringing this up. Another thing is that supposedly there's, I don't know if it's around the country or if it was just in New Hampshire, but they have some clause that when the kids go to talk to a counselor that your parents are bringing to find out what the problem is, the child has the right not to allow the parents to have access to it. So does that even make it counterproductive? Do you get what I'm
I
saying?
mean, I would say so. Yeah. I mean,
That
I
makes
get
no sense.
medical. Okay, so if I have power of attorney, say
Mm-hmm.
my husband, I give him power of attorney. He has access to my medical records, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't a parent have that? Parent essentially has power of attorney over the children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, parents are intrinsically tied to their children. They're the
Mm-hmm.
friggin' parents.
Right.
So removing them from the equation is like removing the entire structure that those kids have built their lives around.
Yep.
Like those and it's being replaced by the state and big pharma.
Yes. Yes. I even when I went to the doctor's office, um, just so I sent a certified letter to my daughter's doctor's office. I did this because her and her dad and I have 50-50 at the time, had 50-50 custody. So I ended up supplying, all the right documentation on this and I certified letter and everything. I said, don't put it in her. Don't put it in her. The woman told me that, well, don't worry about it because pretty soon they're going to be passing a law that the kids can get if they want the vaccination, they can get it. And I'm thinking, that one makes no sense. And two, what the FEF? That's
If
like
it's not a law
doing a
yet, then it's not
surgery.
a law now, in which case stay off of my kid.
That's what I'm saying. When she told me that, I'm like, are you freaking serious? I never followed up after um, because, at that point, it was like, oh my gosh, if they pass that law, then these kids that their heads are in the clouds and they can't even, like that makes no sense. That makes no sense. And does
Agreed.
it even make, one other thing too, I would love to bring up. How do you feel about, um, and again, I only watch commercials because actually I look at them because we're being mocked and I like to read between the lines of, both
Sure.
duality. But why is it that they're pushing this blue chew to the 20-year-olds now because a boy can't? It's because the vaccinations, from what I've understand, doing some research, and again, these are our own personal opinions, and this is for entertainment purposes only. But I think it was 40% of men today have low testosterone, like really low, so they
Hmm.
can't produce babies. And that's why they're pushing the blue chew on them and normalizing that this will help you because you can't. Do you get what I'm saying? It just doesn't make
I
sense
mean, that's
because,
news to me, but
yeah, check out the commercials. I mean, they're all 20-something-year-olds, and that makes no sense because if you're in your 20s, you should be a rockin'
right.
stallion. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. And that, again, that's another example of normalizing stuff that we're talking about.
Right. I think ultimately it comes down to liberals have captured the education system. So they breed their own. If you want to be a teacher, you have to go to college.
Hmm.
That's where they get radicalized. That's where they begin their activism. So they get radicalized and they turn around and it's like self-propagating. And that continues into the medical field. So if you want to get a medical degree, you have to go to college. So you go through this brainwashing camp. You go in like normal, looking like you come out with blue hair and you're throwing rocks at the police. That
Yeah.
radicalization is happening in our institutions, especially in our higher institutions, where they're pushing Marxism, they're pushing communism, they're
Yes.
defaming this country and our founders.
It's
So,
really scary. I really, when you put it like that in such simple, obvious terms, it's just so scary. I think about if President Trump wasn't in
absolutely.
office. I mean, I just that we would have all found out.
Well, America spoke. In 2024, people had
Yeah.
had enough.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, getting back to the trans thing, you look at Joe Biden. Hey, it's Easter. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring a bunch of drag queens to the White House. People had enough of that crap.
And not about
They're tired of
Jesus.
having it shoved down their
Isn't that
throat.
what it's about
Exactly.
to begin with? It wasn't
But he
even,
claims
it
to
was
be a
about,
Catholic. Okay.
yeah, the point is Easter isn't about trans and all that. It's about
It's not. It's not supposed to even be
Jesus
about
Christ.
you.
Yeah.
It's not about
Right?
you. It's about God or whatever. I mean, I'm not like into the
Yeah.
whole church
But we
thing,
can
but I
agree that
mean,
what the
that I
whole
can agree that this is a religious,
representation.
right? If Trump came out
Exactly.
on Ramadan and said, you know what I'm doing for Ramadan, I'm going to bring a bunch of, I don't know, whatever, strippers. Like, I would still have a problem with that because you're literally deliberately going out of your way to offend people. That's what
Yes.
that was.
Don't
It
get
was
me
just a
going on
slap in
other
the face.
commercials. Can I share a couple commercials that also bother me? And I would love to know what people think as well. So if my mom was still alive, she would be rolling in her grave. And what do I mean? Um, I just
If she's
once you can
still
kind of
alive, I hope she's not in a grave.
no, she's no, she
I'm
passed
teasing you. I'm
away. I
teasing
know,
you.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. I know. I know.
No, I know.
I'm
But
sorry.
but my point is it's just see, that's a program in itself. I'm like, she'd be rolling in her grave. These are our sayings that we've learned throughout our entire lives and we don't recognize it. But my point is there's a couple commercials that I could just hear her go, just I can hear her in my head going, oh, this world is just going to shit, or she didn't swear a lot, but that would. So basically, it's a
Right.
commercial showing men. It's just another way of getting sexual things in front of people. A commercial of underwear, and they call it like the ball sack or something. And like they literally give the impression. Do you get what I'm saying? Like there are little kids and people of all different ages,
Right.
but that's just another
You
way
don't
of
know who's going to see
normalizing.
this commercial.
Yeah, I don't need to see that. That's disgusting and it's garbage. And then the other one that drives me crazy because we all realize that a lot of your perfumes and all that stuff is loaded with a lot of the bad things that comes in from, China and these chemicals you've never heard of. But my point is like those body sprays now, they're showing people to spray the chemicals everywhere on them and they're normalizing. There's that other one that was it Lumi, this is how my brain works. I think I do a much better job of being a counselor or a psychologist than my kids' psychologist that I mentioned earlier. And what I mean by that is they're normalizing with that Lumi. It lasts for 72 hours. Like to me, that's kind of gross. Like
Well,
if
I
you
mean,
don't
wait,
take a
hold on. You got to shower between now and 72 hours from now.
thing,
In the
like, but
summer, I
that's a
shower
way.
twice a day because I feel gross.
Right? But you get what I'm saying? They're kind of showing that it's normal not to take a shower in 72 hours and just be lazy and just slap it on. Because when you look at all these kids now, they're just all either sitting on a chair or in their bed. Like, if I was doing that right now, my mom would be like, are you bored? You didn't move from that spot all day. I got things to do. Like when we said we were bored growing up, my mom would be like, I'll give you something to do. And we ran right outside and we got fresh air.
I
So,
mean, I
but
had a bike. I was never bored. I would just take off somewhere.
yeah, that's what we did. And we play games outside and tag. And like, it just makes me so sad. I mean, the viewers watching this, do you agree? I mean, I don't see any children playing, even the young ones. I don't see the young ones playing outside anymore. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
used to
we
be
grew
normal.
up,
You'd see it like growing up, you'd see kids all the time, just like off doing whatever, going and playing in the creek or whatever.
yeah. Oh, you say crick too? You mean creek? You're so cute. I
Creek,
love it.
crick, whatever.
I have an accent too, so I speak really
That's something I
fast for
picked up
some.
from living down south for a while. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. Um, but you get what I'm saying about the commercials, though, and how it's a process. It's the psychology behind it. Like when you even look at the so this is what I want the audience to think about because I love to depict the psychology used on us with whatever, if it's entertainment or if it's a commercial or so forth. I look at it, how could they use this for Team Lucifer? And how could they use this for fun for Team Jesus? And I know that sounds crazy, but just if you can hear me out, you'll get what I'm saying. But my point is like what commercial in particular? I just had it in my mind. Um, oh, just all of the pharmaceutical commercials of really serious conditions. Like the program is they've got you with the art of war and entertainment, keeping your eyes distracted on these people doing everyday things like having fun, smiles on their face, spending time with
Right.
their family.
Canoeing or whatever.
Yeah, because a lot of people that have these serious ailments, that's the kind of stuff they want to do. So they are keeping their brain occupied with that. Meanwhile, they're saying, but it may cause death, an embolism, a
Right.
heart attack, and all that. And it's like, that's some pretty scary stuff. Do you really want
Let's
to?
talk about a symptom that's really crazy is like all of these medications now say that like you're going to start wanting to commit suicide. Like forget the fact that you could just spontaneously die. Like all these medications now. Remember that one where they said if you're a veteran and you were trying to Chantix, listen,
Oh,
don't take it if you're a
yes.
veteran and because like it'll help you quit smoking, but you're going to like people with PTSD, they all try to kill themselves on this medication.
It's a
Now all these
subliminal.
medications do this. It's
That's a
crazy.
really great point. Wow. I never even thought of that as well. But that's the point. They don't want you thinking. They just want you to think that, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's doctors out there that do amazing things like car accidents and, heart attacks and those, you get what I'm
Right.
saying. But I would love to know. I hope one thing I think would be a great idea is for JFK Jr. I mean, RFK Jr., excuse me. um, RFK Jr. to release the real true stats on how many deaths there are with those symptoms because I don't trust anything they put out there. I want to know the real information because I have a funny feeling, like many others, think that those symptoms, there's a lot of people dead from them and it's very serious,
Oh,
not
it would
just
have to be because they wouldn't be declaring it as a possibility if it wasn't, if their trial groups didn't have deaths. There's,
exactly.
they would have to in order to disclose it that way. How would they know this causes death if you didn't kill a few people from doing it?
You speak so well. I love how you get right to the point, but it's just sad all around. So let's think about this logically, though, Jessica. So let's keep people so busy, but then we're going to hone in on the things that they like so we can get them distracted to always want to be on this instead of doing stuff like this and in person and then really F with their brain and pump these commercials and pop-up things where we've all done it where you think something even and something pops up. And that's what started
Right.
tripping me out back in the day. I'm like, how does that work? There's no way possible. And that's when I started going down the rabbit hole on all this. And that's what they're doing.
I've manifest things probably twice, three times a day. Like it's crazy. Like
What do you
I'll be
mean by
like,
that?
I literally just watched that, or I just did this, or I like, how does this keep happening?
It's not a coincidence. It's because
It's not.
these are spy devices and
Well, also that. But
they
I mean,
can't
like
hear
sometimes
your
it happens
thoughts
between
though.
people, like right, like between me and other people. Like, wait, whoa! You just blew my mind with this one. So
That's happening
it
more and more actually now though.
happens
But we
more and
don't
more.
need this on this.
The
It's
whole
me.
idea that we live in a simulation is very fun to me. I like this
Me
theory that
too.
we
Oh,
all
I
live in a
like that.
simulation. So like
Oh,
I
I
was like,
agree.
well, what if you don't actually exist, but because in my version of the simulation, you had to exist. So they create an entire backstory for you. Broop, they give you all your bio and now you do exist. And then you propagate to the next person. I don't know. Like I like to think weird things like this. This is the kind of
No,
stuff that keeps me up
I
at night.
love it. No wonder why you have Star Trek in the back. That's like everyone else. Why do they even make stuff your entertainment about this? And what I found from going down the rabbit hole is, I mean, I like to try to explain to people or encourage people to put politics and all the yucky stuff aside and just think of a spiritual, whether it's God, Jesus Christ, your spiritual, just as long as it's love and light, you know what I mean? So, like, put all that stuff aside and think of all of that. Why would they even have shows like Star Trek and all that? What I found is that they created, so if you think of it from a biblical standpoint, and this is what blows my mind, and I hope it does for you as well, Jessica, because this is the stuff I think about. But if you look at it from a biblical standpoint, Jesus Christ is like the most written about person or prophet or whatever throughout all time. There's a reason for it. They're not just going to keep writing about this without something. But my point, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you're so busy, right? We're all busy and we're busier, and then they get you on the stuff that you like. And but why did they create the sci-fi? Why did they create horror films? Why did they create NYPD Blue that's been on forever, and almost every other episode is about a corrupt person diddling children and human trafficking and all this stuff? It's because, now I know this is going to blow some people's minds, but what I have found and many other people have found from diving deep is, whether you want to call it MK Ultra or whatever, they're already pre-programming people for doomsday duality of the show and the concept, or Team Jesus, to be like, hey, see how this has been in front of you this whole time? Because when you keep the people's minds busy, you don't want them to wake up too quickly and be like, oh my gosh, let's just make them work like 5 days a week and then really busy through the school system to run around like for their kids. And then they get like a half a day to themselves. That sounds like a great plan, says Teen Lucifer. You know what I mean? But because it's been in our generations to work hard, I'm not saying that working hard is, I've done that. I ran my own company and so forth. But my point is if people really had a choice, I think they would really want to have more time with their friends and family instead of always being on the road, driving 2 hours to and from work. And then in this, just so you can give your family all these extra toys, but you're never around. Does that make sense? Like, to me, I think people are kind of shifting and cutting back on working for corporate America because they've kind of figured things out and they want to be with their family. But my point is the entertainment part is, what a genius way. What it, like, that's the art of war in itself, where you keep the people occupied with music, entertainment, and dance and everything, because if they didn't have it, they would quickly know that they are in modern day enslavement and in a corrupt society. Does that make sense to a degree?
I mean, it does. I mean, you take somebody's phone and like hide it, put it on mute or whatever and hide it and see how fast before they start panicking. I mean, it's like they're modern day ball and chain, right? Like, oh, if I don't have that, my boss isn't going to be. Why does your boss need to contact you? You're off work, right? Like, are you running
Yes.
like, what are you like, Delta Force or something? You got to go like rescue. No,
Right?
you're not. You're just some corporate tool. Like, all you do is accounting. Why does your boss need to contact you? Like,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Like that. Yeah, that's a great
back in the
point
day, you
too.
used to go home from work and then you left work at work and then you went home and like had your personal life. And now it's like kind of just like encompassed people's lives. I mean, how many women right now are working at jobs so they can pay for whatever, a babysitter, right? Like, why? You're just like, go be a mom. Like, you don't need to
I
pay somebody else to do your job.
know. I love, the one thing that I really wish is that more and more moms and parents could be home. Because when you think about it, if we kept going like this, Jessica, another few years, I don't think anyone would want to have kids. Because if you can't enjoy
Oh
them, what's the
no.
point of having them?
Well, they
I
tell
mean,
you it's a good thing to kill your baby, like before you have it. Like they normalize
oh,
abortion. Like, don't even get me started on that. So, I
I
mean,
would love to talk about that because it's funny that you're bringing this up because a few of my friends are all like, my body, my rights. And I'm like, why do you have to keep pushing that you want if you ever needed an abortion? I'm like, do you hear yourselves? There are bigger problems in this world, but also on that topic, what they constantly say, my body, my choice. Why can't we use that for, you get what I'm saying? Same
right,
thing, my body, my choice, right?
right, right. And I think that slogan was made popular, but it's inaccurate. It's not my body anymore. It's our body,
That's
right?
what
So
I'm saying. You don't even have a choice
you're
anymore. They
not
just
alone
tell.
in there anymore. Okay, you
Yeah.
have a baby in there.
Oh, that would
And
be,
what, I mean, that's a beautiful thing. Like there is nothing more beautiful than a mom being a mom.
yeah.
Sorry.
I
Sorry, not
agree.
sorry.
I agree.
Uh, I mean,
But I
I
think
find
it's,
it heinous that people have normalized baby murder just so that women can be liberated. And by liberated, we mean sexually active.
yeah,
Uh,
just be responsible.
be responsible.
If you're going to do it, I actually think with everything going on, we're going to go back to a lot of the golden rules, so to speak. And because we've learned all these bad behaviors of normalizing so much in our movies. Like, what do people do after work because they work so hard for the week? They show you to go out and get drunk. Like when you,
Absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you can have fun and hang out and all that, but you get what I'm saying, and it just normalizes more of this to drink your sorrows away and so forth. You know what I mean? It's just it's in our face for everything how they've done this to us. And I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say it.
because medication commercial, beer commercial, medication commercial, beer commercial. Don't mix this medication with the beer that we're trying to sell you. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a brilliant program within a program. If I was the bad guy, I'd be like, that's slick. Just squeeze that in there and they'll never know. And
for the
um,
record, I don't actually think a lot of these people are just like bad guys. I think they are sloppy, lazy, and chasing the almighty dollar, which in itself is a bad guy. I mean, but like, I don't think they see
yeah,
themselves as evil or having some agenda. I think they're just like, I don't give a shit. Like, whatever. Like, as long as we make money, we'll save some money up for whatever settlements that we gotta like. They just are apathetic,
yeah,
which is its own version of evil. But I really
yeah.
truly feel like most of these people are just chasing the dollar.
You nailed it because it's all about money for people. I
Right.
mean, you can't, I have nothing in common with anyone. I am sick and tired of people telling me what they do for a living and where they live or what they drive. Like, I would rather be talking about this kind of stuff because when you think about it, everyone, I mean, I know so many people that had those high paying jobs that had the big houses and the cars. And guess what? When they lost their job and they couldn't replace it and they still had a mortgage and they had leased vehicles, you got nothing. So what does that prove? That proves that we should
Right.
not be judging one another on an actual job. I think the new cool is going to be judging people on how they give back and help in their community because apparently people are so deeply programmed that when you mention it, I'm just too busy. And they think our government all these decades has been doing it. No, they haven't. This is your wake up call. If you want to live
Right.
in an awesome, really cool, new, no Karen judgment, type place, then go out and do it. Create your community thinking tanks. That's another thing that I came up. God delivered a big, cool, super cool plan, but I don't think people are ready for it because literally our tagline is give 5 hours a month to your neighbors in need and we'll change the world by doing good deeds. So if everyone pitched in, can you imagine like what we could actually get done in helping people and rebuilding in communities and so forth? But what I found is I had people reach out to me going, well, how does this work? I'm like, oh my gosh, people are so deeply programmed that they're so used to being told what to do. They can't even get out of their way to even commit to just picking something and putting it on your calendar. They just can't do it because their jobs and so forth, they've just taught them that you always have to. Does that make sense?
It does.
it's really it's quite scary, and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone when if they were one of the people reaching out to me. What I'm trying to say is I love that they want to do it, but the point is people just aren't doing it because the system got them to be so busy. And to me, I'm like, well, why don't you just stop scrolling for how many days a day on your phone all by yourself and get off your ass and go pitch into society? If you want to change your community in the world, get out and do something. It's not rocket science, but again, they don't
Well,
know
but
what
then they'll
they're used
punish
to
you if
their
you're on the
hand
wrong
being
side in
held.
doing things.
Hmm.
So going back to the activism and the
Mm-hmm.
two tiers of justice,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did during the BLM stuff and during like for January 6th and all those Trump rallies and stuff. They said go out and do something. You have to be active. So I'm like, okay, let me get my boots on, right?
Thank you.
And then I got punished for it because I was
Yeah.
on the wrong side of their zeitgeist. But you look at all these ICE stuff or people burning Teslas. They're like, go out and do something. Go attack an ICE officer. Go get their names, attack their families, dox them, swat them,
I
whatever.
don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh. It's just you just triggered something in me where just everyone loved Teslas and then they jumped on the bandwagon to destroy them.
Right.
Like, you guys, do you see what they're doing to your monkey see, monkey do? It's no different than their kids. Sorry.
Right. Well, they're programmed. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever it is today, yesterday doesn't matter, tomorrow doesn't matter. All there is today for them, right? And so today
Yeah.
we are anti January 6th, so we're pro police. But the day before, they were defund the police people. They don't believe in anything. So
It's
then after
mhm.
January 6th, as soon as Roe v. Wade, up, guess what? They're attacking cops and attacking Capitol buildings and blah, blah, blah. They don't believe in everything. They're told what to believe today, and they believe it today. But whatever
It's the
happened yesterday
program.
is completely gone. They're programmed.
I love that you get I'm just so glad you get it. And I'm so glad that there are millions and millions and millions and millions of people, because when you think about it, some of my friends have been reaching out to me now. And what I find interesting is, isn't it interesting that everything that President Trump had said has come true? And now they're looking at people like us like, well, how did they know? It was just because we were
We're
just
just paying
doing our
attention.
homework on both sides. And everything that they kept saying and screaming on our last
Right.
administration, they're just all yelling and God, like they weren't answering any questions for them. They were just telling them what to do without recognizing the repercussions of their actions and how it made them look. So now I believe more and more people are open to it because they're like, okay, so you knew this, but how come I didn't know this? It's because this was occupied.
I
Mhm.
think MAGA is just as susceptible to this programming, though. I really hate to admit that, but like if Alligator Alcatraz is the thing or Riley Gaines is the thing, everybody kind of gravitates to it. So like you start looking at like I love Glenn Beck, but like if you start looking at Glenn Beck, Dan Bongino, you start looking at these pundits, right? These people who are talking about all these issues, they all talk about the
Mhm.
same exact thing. They all have the exact same script. When I was in the DC gulag, when I was in jail, we had this app on. We had these tablets that were given to us by the jail, and there was an app called Pluto TV. And so I used to jump back and forth between Newsmax and OAN, and there was another one, Real America's Voice.
Yeah.
I jumped between
Wow. It's
Newsmax
good you
and
got that.
OAN.
Mhm.
Well, right. And so like I jumped between them and literally they were talking about gun emoji. They had taken away the gun emoji and they were talking about it with the exact same language. And they did this exact same number. They're like, they took away the gun emoji. And like I literally flipped from this channel to this channel, two entirely different conservative channels. And within seconds of each other, I saw the same exact
They're
thing.
doing the same.
And
Oh my gosh, just like I don't mean to interrupt, but real quick, just like the same things they said about this stuff and all the other.
right,
I've seen
right.
videos where people have compiled all of them at the same time and they're saying the same.
Operation
And there's like,
Mockingbird. It's
yes,
Operation Mockingbird. And I
they
think
don't
they
even
do it to
believe me.
both sides. And it's to
Yes.
deliberately polarize us into
Hmm.
opposite camps, to turn us against each other so we're not paying attention to what the big guys are doing.
Exactly. That's the art of war.
And I don't like being played
Me
because
neither.
I love my country and I like my neighbors and I love my community. I don't like being played. I don't like being made a fool of. And when I find out and when I see it happening, it upsets me, even when it's happening on my side of the aisle. That's the
I
difference between
agree.
liberals and MAGA, though, is like we can actually look and like hold our own accountable and say, hey, no, you're screwing up here. Liberals don't do that. They just like boop, boop, boop. They're like drones.
Yeah.
They're
And they
people.
always are on the same topic all the time. Have you
Right.
noticed? I'm like, we got
That's
like a
Operation
hundred
Mockingbird.
gazillion
They're
other things, and
programming
you're
you.
just,
They're like, here's what you got to think about today.
yeah.
Here's what you're pissed off about today. I don't want to be pissed
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. We're done being pissed off. We want to bring people together and just realize we
Right.
all got duped. How can we fix it? Because I think we all really secretly want the same things. It's just that the program caused people to.
Right.
It's so sad. I can't believe so we all fell for it at one point in our lives, though. You know what I mean? That's the
We
thing
did.
that happened to
I
me.
mean,
I mean,
me too. I mean, all of it woke me up. And now I have to critically think about everything I'm ever being told. Like, you used to take things on faith. Oh, the FBI said this, so it must be true. The DOJ
mhm.
said this, so it must be true. Now it's like, I don't believe anything the DOJ or the FBI said. I don't need, you can tell me, like, this person murdered someone, stalked them
Mhm.
down and murdered them, and I don't believe you. Did you plant evidence? Did you withhold testimony? Did, like, you're
Yeah.
telling me this person is this bad person, but I don't really know.
Ooh. Okay,
That's a
seeing
segue.
that you're on that topic, would you mind moving on over to Ghislaine Maxwell? Because this is all news
Sure.
to me. I've never heard anything about people knowing Ghislaine Maxwell inside. Could you explain to people how you were in, she was a few cells down from your jail
We
cell, is
didn't
that
have
correct?
cells, but yeah, but she lived a couple bunks down from me. We had what was called cubes. So it was like an open dorm situation.
Hmm.
So it's like one big hallway with some like concrete dividers that separate the bunk beds. But if you're on the top bunk, you're only got like that much wall between you and the person next to you. So like if you're laying in your bed, you can just kind of like rest your arm on it. There's no privacy. But
Gotcha.
she
Okay.
lived a few bunks down from me. Um, when I first came in, the first time I saw her, I was like I did one of these double take things, like, and I was like,
Was
is
that
that who I
Ghislaine
think it
Maxwell?
is? Right.
Because
And the
they
girl that
found
was
her
with
in
me,
New
she gave
Hampshire.
me,
That was my home state.
right. So I was like, is that who I think it is? And the girl that was with me, she's like, I don't know, who is that? I'm like, I think that's like, what's her name?
Oh,
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine
And so like I
Maxwell.
started asking questions and they're like, oh yeah, that is totally her.
Jeffrey
Um,
Epstein's sidekick.
right. I recognized her immediately, although she's gray now. I mean, like the face, like it just, you know, because I was
Mm.
watching a bunch of the news and stuff. So like it kind of blew my mind. Um, and I literally would walk. So like if you have a hallway like this, her bunk was here, mine was here. I would walk all the way around just to get outside because I didn't want to walk past her because she creeped me the frick out.
What
uh,
was, can I, okay, so here's a question. So when you recognized it was her, how did you feel about that? Like a real life human trafficker and pedo person?
right,
Like
right.
that was right next to you. That, like, this
I
is
would say
like
a quarter of my
the,
prison was pedo.
oof.
There was a lot of pedos in my, we call them chomos, child molesters. There's a lot of
Shoma.
chomos in my prison. There's so many. I mean, so many. Like I would say almost probably a quarter. Uh,
Isn't that
one out of
scary how
four.
normalized it's become being a pedo and like messing with little
Now,
kids and oh
I say that that's why they're in prison. I
yes.
knew girls who were innocent. So conspiracy law is a thing. So there were girls whose husbands were cheating with some other girl, and those two did something with a kid. And then they said, well, she knew about it. And they throw the wife in on a conspiracy charge. And the DOJ's like, yeah, we'll take her. And they just snatch her up and throw you in on it. So the
Whoa.
actual people who are doing the diddling will throw a spouse under the bus to get time off their sentence. And then everybody gets the same amount of time in prison. Like everybody goes to prison for 30 years for that. There are people there who
Well, they're so
genuinely are
well
like, I
groomed
had
how to
no
keep it in
idea.
hiding. They're so
Right,
well groomed to keep it in hiding. And that's one thing that I've learned out here in Utah. I mean, talk about a whole different outlook on life. And I mean, half the
right.
people that I've met have left the church, and all of them have said either an aunt or an uncle or someone in the church has molested. I watch people. I like to watch people. And long story short, they're very stand up, like talk about the pain for them to come forward. But like my friend Danielle that I just interviewed the other day, we were talking about, she goes, once people realize how normalized being a pedo and a groomer and all that, I mean, it, when you look at it that way, that they've normalized that in entertainment and in everyday
For
life
sure.
in the corporate church. Shh, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it is the one thing that I keep hearing a lot. And that's just normalizing
No,
it. So
you have to talk
clearly,
about it. You have to like
that's what I'm
call out
saying,
that
but
this
it's
is evil.
become normalized itself.
Right.
Like that's the program in itself for duality. Like, shh, don't talk about it because the bad guys don't want you talking about it either. But her
Right.
point was, okay, this is so normalized. Everyone should be ashamed. And now is the time for everyone to start standing up. If you want to do a powerful Me Too movement, that's what you do so that these pieces of shit don't get away with it anymore. Because that is actually satanic. That is stuff that was brought down from thousands and thousands of years. I mean, you got to think, when I thought about that, I was like, wow, then there's
And
definitely.
that's self-propagating in and of itself. So like I knew this girl, what was her name? Kat Harris. She was badly sexually assaulted as a child for like years. And guess what she was in prison for? Doing it to her kid. Uh,
Because that's the program that when you
is it
go
her
down the
brain
rabbit
was
holes,
broken.
that
Right.
too, that too, that's how they
Um,
break them down though. And that's how
right.
they normalize.
And then she became an addict and she killed
Oh,
herself. She killed herself about 3 months ago.
oh,
Um,
I can't even
so
imagine. And that's actually when
like,
I think about that, when it
like this
happened
girl
to
was like
them.
20, like young. And
Oh,
by the time she was 18, she had already perpetuated the cycle. By the time she was 20, she hung herself. But
wow. Wow.
yeah,
Gosh, it's just so sad how it's just everywhere and no one wants to talk about it. That is the issue in itself.
right.
Um, well, with that being said, if we could jump back to Ghislaine, because this is
Sure,
like,
sure.
so you tried to avoid her for a little bit just because you were so creeped out and so
For
forth.
a while, yeah, I avoided her, but
Did
I
she
ended up
avoid
meeting
people
her
as
because I
well?
worked in education with her. What's that?
Did other people avoid her as well? Or were they more like, huh, what's,
She kept to herself most of the time. She did have Miss Lisa, who was a friend of hers. Miss Lisa was a doctor who was put in prison for doing her job essentially, and one of her patients overdosed, and they tried to get her for it, and then she had her whole case. Anyway, Miss Lisa and Ghislaine were always walking the track together or whatever, but she really didn't have any friends, but
mm-hmm,
people gravitated to her because she was famous, right? So like they had questions they wanted to know and blah blah blah.
mm-hmm,
Um, she came and sought me out. I started working in the education department. I got a job running the library,
mm-hmm,
and she ran the law library. So she ended up coming and finding me and pulled me aside and talked to me. And I was very
mm-hmm.
nervous. I was very uncomfortable. Uh, she's super nice. I mean,
Well, they're
she's
groomed to be
crazy nice.
nice and to be, that's their tactic, be nice to people. And you know what I'm saying? They'll,
Right. And well, I mean, to me, like I just expected her to be like this, like monster, and she's very big into inmate advocacy. So like she does care about the girls in the prison around her. Like so if they need anything, they'll come to her. She'll help them with that. She's incredibly nice. I mean,
I'm
you
going to
just
tell you
can't
right
get
now,
over
we're
the
going to get
goosebumps. You know what I'm saying?
a lot of people are, when they hear this, they're going to be like, you can't say that. Like,
Right.
she's
Right. No,
bad.
I mean like you never lose the goosebumps. Like you always feel like you know what I'm saying? But she is incredibly nice. She told me flat out numerous occasions, J6 was a setup. You shouldn't be here. Um, she read my book. She asked me to read it, and I resisted it for like a month or two. I was like, I don't know why this lady wants to read my story, and she kept pushing, and she's like, no, I want to read it, like because other people had read it, and they were like, holy crap, this is like the best thing I've ever read. Uh, so she was curious, and eventually I did let her read it, and then like 2 3 days later, she came back and she gave me a hug, and she was crying, and she was like, I'm so sorry everything you had to go through. I was like, okay, well, thank you, I definitely
Yeah, you're like,
appreciate
try
that.
not to get
Like,
any bitches in here to
right,
jump me or anything. Or yeah.
right, right. Well, and that's the other thing. It's like chomos are in, at least in women's prison, are a protected class. Like
So she
anything
was
you
in.
do against them, you can catch a hate crime, you can catch a whole nother indictment. Like you, so they walk around walking on sunshine, whistling like that. There's not a thing wrong because you can't do anything to them, and they know it. So they act like it,
Mm,
and they act like everything is just fine. Like what they did was no big deal.
hmm.
It's disgusting. Uh, that our Justice Department is willing to prosecute people who, I mean, I understand if you caught like a 200 series shot or something, but to give somebody an entire indictment, like, come on. Like, these people are pedos. Like, who cares? I,
Yeah.
I mean, but anyway, so,
If anyone touched my kids, they better, when they were young,
right,
they better freaking run and run
right,
really far because I would have freaking tracked them down.
for
I would have
sure.
hunted them down. I digress. Sorry.
Well, I
I
mean, you're
think that's
fine.
how parents feel about this topic. So,
People
yeah.
know better. So, like, there was this girl we called Boogers. She was definitely a chomo, was doing things with her pets and animals, and or pets and her children. And then her girlfriend or whatever, and they switched genders every other week. We'll get into that in another time.
Mm,
Um, that one went by Bucky. Bucky got caught plotting with another chomo on how when they get out, they're going to groom kids and then kidnap them. They had the whole thing written out and everything. So that was its own thing. These sickos exist in prison and they belong there for the rest of their life.
hmm.
Uh, but then you feel bad for the girls who are like, man, like, I'm looking at your indictment. All I'm seeing here is conspiracy,
Hmm.
and I'm not really seeing any evidence. But the DOJ will pressure these people like, we got you. And so the public defenders, they'll just push through these plea deals. And then you're like, but there's no evidence here. And you're telling me you had no idea. And so a conspiracy law is bullshit.
Plus, that's,
Um,
they're probably doing a favor for a favor for a favor of someone is
for
because
sure.
I mean, does that
And
even
so
make
like,
sense? Save the space
and it'll
for.
all hinge on the testimony of people who have been caught doing the deed. They'll be like, "Oh no, yeah,
Mhm.
she's in on it too. I need 10 years shaved off my sentence." And I'm like, "Okay." And
Mhm.
so that person who didn't, so for inmates, like we have some discernment. You can look up people's cases. We have access to law library. I can go look up your shit and find out why you're here. Um, and so when those cases crop up, they're like, people will pull them aside and question them, like, "Hey, what's up? Like, I hear you're here for a sex crime," and then it'll all come out, and then they'll line that up their testimony against whatever's in the law library, and sure enough, okay, you kind of just got entrapped. So people feel bad for those girls, and that people don't mind
Yeah.
associating them with them, but the chomos, they're radioactive. People avoid them.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Whoa. It's just so scary to think there's so many creepy people out there and
right.
there you can go to these like websites. I remember back in New Hampshire when my girls were younger, I had heard of that Megan's Law and I really thought that it was a mistake in what I was seeing because there were so many in Amherst, New Hampshire in that area. I was like, whoa.
It's
They
crazy.
and they just blend in with society. I mean, think of Ghislaine Maxwell. When you look at her from afar, she looks like a normal, nice woman, like
When you meet her,
very,
you would never know. She's super, super nice. She's
but
very
that's what
posh.
I'm,
She speaks with a British accent, and she's very nice. And she comes off as like just this
but that's my
sweet little
point.
British lady.
But that's my
You
point is that
right.
everyone is groomed and they're and shown how to act this way so
And she
that they
feels
are
very
not put
genuine. She doesn't
in
even feel like she don't feel like she's wearing a mask. Like she's very likable, and it's very unnerving to think that this person is capable of all these horrible things.
That's
Now
what I
she'll tell
mean.
she's very tight-lipped about her case, but she'll tell you like, no, I'm innocent. They had no interest in me. Her exact words were, they had no interest in me until Jeffrey died. She didn't say killed him. She like paused and she was like,
But why
she,
wouldn't they have had any interest if they were like,
I don't know. But she'll claim DOJ malfeasance, the FBI. They said they threatened the witnesses. Now they did all
maybe
that
it's
in my
central
case.
casting?
So, right, like they did all that in my case. They threatened my witnesses. They withheld evidence. They falsified testimony. They committed perjury. They did all that to me. And then you hear somebody else say they did it to me too. It's like, well, maybe did they? It gives you the seed
Mm,
of doubt. And then you're like, No, you did it. Like when you go back and you start looking at things, you're like, no. So I don't believe she's innocent,
hmm.
but I believe she believes that she's innocent. Uh,
Gotcha. But that's also what's that term you call those psychos? What's a like a medical term? Schizophrenia, or I don't know,
I don't think
people
she's
that
any of
get
that.
groomed or
She's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. She's
oh, I'm sure
crazy
she is.
intelligent.
I'm sure
She's
she
crazy
is.
intelligent. So she's smart enough to know to watch her language. It's a sociopath behavior. It's
Whoa. She could be like a secret spy ninja and know all those secret moves, being in those type of, you wouldn't even know it.
I will give her credit here though. When I was in, she talked
Whoa.
to the media and they were asking, because this is when they were like, oh, Trump's on the Epstein list because we found a picture of him, blah, blah, blah. It was all
Uh-huh.
in the news. And so she went on the media and said, hey, if you want to hear about Trump, you got to ask about the Clintons first. And they threw her in the shoe, which is the special housing unit. It's like the whole,
Really?
yeah.
Okay,
So
wait a
I got to
minute.
give her credit there.
That
She
intrigues me a little bit because what that tells me is is one that we all know when you go down the rabbit hole on the far left, who are the biggest human traffickers and diddlers and
100%.
pedos? It's the Clintons. Again,
It's the
this is for
Clintons.
entertainment purposes only in own personal opinions. I just
It
want to
is
make
my
sure we have.
opinion that Clinton is a creep and a pedo.
Yeah. But I like what you said because maybe she's trying to steer them into doing the proper research on how a lot of this started. And I also love that just recently Jeffrey Epstein, because remember how everyone was like, we want to see the evidence that he was there, release. And then Jeffrey Epstein's attorney, people can go look it up. He actually announced, he's like, no, he's never, I can testify that he's never been there. So that shuts down another one of their things on hating him for.
Right.
So what does it leave less? Go do your research and follow the breadcrumbs over the last how many years. That's the art of war. That's when I think like this is just so beyond biblical before this has been scripted even before we were born. Think about it. If you're going to use the airspace, and I've noticed as well too, because this is how my brain works, is I connect cues and clues from one show to another show because Team Jesus is going to end up clipping out the stuff and he's got access to everything now. I firmly believe this is just my own personal opinion, and I'd love to know if other people think that it makes sense. Is when you think of biblical terms, I think Team Lucifer and Team Jesus made a pact and they came up with entertainment so that people wouldn't feel the modern day enslavement, so that it didn't go really, really bad. So they created entertainment. And what did all what do you call the medieval times? Those little guys that would entertain the kings and
Oh,
queens.
like the jesters or whatever.
Yeah, I think that literally entertainment was created to entertain both sides. And
Well,
so,
it's bread and circuses. It's to keep you distracted so you don't know what's going on. You don't pay attention to like the inflation, the
exactly.
economy, to
But at the
the
same
government
time,
giveaways in Ukraine or whatever.
yeah, but at the same time, think about how genius that is, though, because like you just said, they were trying to distract you, but why not use the distraction as the tool in the end to
It's
explain
a
to people?
double-edged
Because
sword. Right.
how would you even be able to explain all of this when people are still fighting, going, no, everything you're talking about is still not real. Do you get what I'm saying? You gotta
Right.
use the entertainment to show the people. Don't use the politics per se. Use the entertainment, connect the dots to what it's connecting to and what they want you to start investigating. I mean, that's the art of war. And I just can't get over how cool it is because when you think about it from a biblical standpoint, that they had to create entertainment to come to this end time that was prophesied in all religions. Whoa, that excites me. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, that's some
I
deep
do.
stuff. It's deep. Ah, I still know my girlfriend Tracy Chris Lurvy. We used to do a local TV show, the Tracy and Sharon Show in Merrimack. And her brother wrote for David Letterman for 20 years. He's part of Team Jesus. Just saying. Because all I know is you have to be a genius writer to be connected with other writers to connect the big story together so it flows. That's what my brain does. That's a whole show in itself. um, but do you believe that that's possible? What I just said about, you got to create entertainment to keep them distracted, but entertain the evildoers, but also entertain the good guys so they can read through the script of what, does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's just designed to program you how to think, how to feel at the same time to distract you from everything that's really going on. I mean, like, you look at
Mm-hmm.
everybody looks to like Hollywood for fashion, for catchphrases or whatever it is, whatever the current
I
zeitgeist
love
is.
you. I love that you're saying this. You're so my people because I just once you realize it and the psychology and how it works, you see it everywhere.
Absolutely. And it's been evolving. I think it started off a while ago, but I think it's just been progressing with time. And then, of course, as soon as these things came around, people started having everything pumped straight into their brain 24/7, like
Yep. And they
you can
know
be in a
everything that
hard,
they're
cold sleep,
typing.
and then you hear your phone go off, and you'll wake up and you'll stop your whole dream cycle to go look and see what the hell, who cares? It's just an advertisement. And then you go back to sleep, and it's
I do that when I dream and I wake up. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta go code that.
wait, no, right, exactly. And like, why?
That's how
Why is
my
it so
brain works, but
important? Why
not,
can't you
yeah.
just get to it when you wake up? Like,
Uh-huh.
make your coffee, I don't know. I'm just
I get
high-speed
it.
internet and phones have gotten people, and this goes back to everything. It's just the instant gratification of people. So people have gotten so used to it, and it gets that even goes into the whole transition thing, like, oh, we got to get these kids, they're going to kill themselves if we don't transition them today. It's instant gratification. Hand everything to them right here, right now. It's like ordering something on
Bingo.
Amazon.
Well said.
Why rush anything? I don't know. If it takes me a week for my package to arrive, I'm not bent out of shape. People are going to be like, where is it? Where is it? Okay, I got 1 day shipping. Okay, big deal. It's
Yeah.
just crap. You're just
It's
ordering shit.
triggers. They're all
Like,
triggers.
right.
Yep.
And
And
everything
that's
is
how they
instant
show them in
gratification,
your
whether it's your
commercials.
food or, right, exactly.
They
The
show
commercials,
you
right, like all the
that's what
burgers
they
and all
do.
the,
They're like,
right,
ooh, and they're showing people how to act as well. Because I know me
right,
acting like this a lot was probably picked up from some type of show. Same with
wherever,
everyone
right,
else. Mm-hmm.
right. I mean, some of
Mm-hmm.
that is just normal human culture, like things just get adopted and it just gets popularized, and before you know it, it's a fad or the trend or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, but a lot of it is being programmed and fed to us. And you gotta sit back
Yeah.
and wonder, who are these people and why do they want me to think this way? Why do they want me to feel this way? Why do they want me to dress this way, right?
That is a good point. I
So,
think different's going to be the new cool in the near future. I'm tired of
it's already
everyone
getting there.
looking. I
It's
know.
already
You're
getting
right.
there. I
It
mean,
really
like
is.
3, 4 years ago, it was like not cool to wear a red hat. Everybody was wearing one.
Yeah. I was
I
gonna
mean,
wear my hat today, but I just because I don't get out much. I don't do much with my hair and do all pretty
I got
stuff
mine
like
hanging
you
up on the wall
do.
back here.
What? Oh, you got
I
your
got my
hat.
hat back
Oh,
here.
I see it. How come I didn't
Yeah.
notice that? I usually like
I
to
don't
look
know.
in people's backgrounds. It tells a lot about
That's
people.
my grandfather's hat. He died when I was in prison, but he wore it every day.
Oh, I'm so
Prayed for me every day.
sorry.
So
I'm so sorry you had to go through all that for nothing. Well,
I still can't even
they
believe
let
it.
out all
Like
these
I just
people from jail, It's
right.
ridiculous for
I
stupid
mean, you look at
stuff and
like
like look at you're like helping saving the world and stuff and people and yeah. Ugh, it's just so not right.
I
Okay,
mean,
but back to Ghislaine.
I still to this day have liberals who tell me, "Oh, you need to go kill yourself," or like, "I hope you get shot," or you
Because
belong in
they're
prison
violent.
still. Like
They're
they're
violent.
violent as hell. Liberals are the most violent people in America, period. Like full stop.
See, you're
It
bringing
blows my
humor
mind.
into this big movie because honestly, me laughing like that is this is what I'm going to start discussing is the psychology behind how we've been programmed because it's really in our faces. We just have to, but
Right.
me laughing, I was programmed to laugh when you're uncomfortable, just like your entertainment.
Right.
It's really that messed up. And until people can see through it and how it works, and they're never going to
Well,
get
I
it.
mean, look at like just sitcoms and stuff. They tell you when to laugh. They're like, ah, ha, ha," they got the little laugh track that like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the cue where I'm supposed to laugh along. Like, and you do it almost like it's a reflex, and you're like, that wasn't even funny. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Like,
that's my point that I start to tell people is half the time it's like a test and people have to do it enough times for it to start kicking in their brains is when you hear that laugh, go back and hear what they say because what they say in general terms is actually really freaky or messed up. But they
right.
disguise it that way. So that's how you program people's minds to have that type of humor that
Reaction. Right.
yeah. I mean, do you get what I'm saying? Because sometimes when I bring this up to people, they're just like, what? I'm like, no, it's really that simple. And they're like, what? It's just, I can't. I can't. It's crazy. Okay, but back to
Okay. So
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. Okay.
Ghislaine. So you call her
Or Gil-
Ghislaine? Ghislaine?
Her name is really hard to pronounce. I've been calling her
As,
Ghislaine, but is there
oh,
not an S
oh,
in there?
oh, I'm
Or is
just
it
used to
silent
calling
or
her
something? I don't
Ghislaine.
know. Okay.
Ghislaine. Well, us New Englanders,
Sure.
we drop and add G's to words. Like it always used to sound like I said resignate all the time instead of resonate. But because in New England, anyhow, it's the whole thing.
I
But yeah,
gotcha.
Ghislaine. So what else? So, did anyone else talk to her, or were you kind of one of the only people besides that other lady?
Well, I mean, so there's this book I really like. I read it in prison, actually. I've read Black Hawk Down a bunch of times because I was in Ranger Battalion. So that was 3rd Ranger Battalion that fought in the whole Black Hawk Down situation. The pilot, Michael Durant, um, was taken prisoner. And so when he came back to the States after that whole affair, he was held hostage, I think, by the locals for like 3 weeks or something. He was like badly wounded and all this stuff. But he wrote a book and he details his military career and that whole incident. And when he talks about coming back to the States, when he flew through Germany and stuff, he said there was like thousands of people against the fence that were just like holding up signs like "We love you, Durant" and all this stuff. And like people just rush up to him and want to shake his hand and talk to him. He called it touching the stone. It's like when you see like the pyramid, you want to just like touch it, right? It's like it's
Uh-huh.
touching the stone because like it makes it more real, like to hold something,
Yeah.
to touch something. It's like a
Ah,
tactile thing that connects with our brain. So he called it touching the stone. I experienced this a lot myself because people were curious. Hey, I'm President Trump's co-defendant, and I was this famous January 6th person, and blah blah blah. So people would come up to me just to talk to me, just to shake my hand or whatever, to hug me or whatever, because it was like bringing it home to them that this was real now. It wasn't just
yeah.
something they saw on a screen. This is the person. This is the real person. I saw a lot of that with her as well. So she had a huge influx of people. So like the law library was right next to me. I ran the recreation library. She ran the law library. So like there was a constant stream of people that would come in just to touch the stone, right? Who are you? They want to hear your story. And she wouldn't tell it, but
Hmm.
it was weird to me. But people, I mean, I guess it's just a fame thing, right? Like you hear about
It's
it
a
in the news and a
brainwashing
person
thing. The people
here,
put people on a
right?
pedestal. I think it's the stupidest
Exactly.
thing ever.
It's
I mean,
stupidest
I'm out
thing.
here in the Sundance Film. I'm 5 minutes down the road, and I've been next to people, and literally, I'm like, "What's the big deal?"
It's
Like, you make
I'm
it
not
more of a
impressed.
big deal than I make it a big deal. And if you're gonna
Right.
make you sound like you're Mr. Wonderful, then like, bye. I mean, it's
Right.
creepy to have that. Anyhow, I digress. But
No, no, no.
some
You're
guy
spot on though.
from the
Like,
real world, I was sitting next to him, I was grabbing lunch. What was his name? I should know it. See, this is how it doesn't affect me. Um, what's his name? I'll post it here. I'll make a note of it, but But that's just my point is why do people even bother putting people on a pedestal? You know who
I
I
think it's
admire?
because I
I
think because
admire
most
people like you, the everyday person that's actually stepping up and helping society and protecting our constitutional rights and stuff. I got no time for freaking Hollywood people because all they do is they push all the Ponzi schemes that they're paid off
sure,
for anyhow. I have a
sure.
total theory on that, but it's deeper
I
than
mean,
the
I look at
average.
every I don't do the hero worship thing. So like
Yeah.
with the exception of maybe President Trump, I think I would be pretty awestruck to
Yeah.
meet him. I think that's my like moment where I'd be like, oh my God, I'm sharing the same oxygen as you. Like, but for the most part,
Aw,
like, I'm not
right?
impressed by
And
people. I'm
Melania.
just not like, to me, like, you're
Yeah,
just
you're
another,
my
you put your
people.
shoes on the same as me. Like, I'm not,
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. I'm gonna have to borrow that. Cool.
yeah. So I don't know. Like, but as far as she's concerned, like, there was a lot of people who were just kind of curious and wanted to, like, touch the stone, right? So, people were pretty, and she was very much like, I'm dead serious. She was very good at prisoner advocacy. So, like, there was three other January 6th girls who were in the prison with her. So there was me, Tracy, Leslie, and then my friend Jen.
Hmm.
And so they got some of that attention too, but because their names weren't in the news or whatever, people didn't do it so much. But they'll stick up for her on this. That like she is very big advocate for the other inmates. So like Tracy was saying, like there was this one girl who had really bad sepsis or whatever, ended up being like on death's door, and like
That's
Ghislaine like picked her
dangerous.
up and carried her to the guards and was like, she needs a hospital now. So like she would do
Really?
stuff like that where she was very caring about the people around her. And that
Huh.
might just be because
She's putting on a
she was
show.
going to be in prison for a while, and so like it's good to build a rapport with your fellow inmates.
Hmm.
But I don't think that's the case. I honestly feel like she genuinely cared about the girls around us, right?
Oh, I can
Uh,
hear the comments already. When I post this,
sure,
they'll be like,
sure.
"Shut
So
up."
like there was some younger girls that would like gravitate towards her and she would kind of gravitate back. Now, Tracy attributes that to intelligence. Like Ghislaine is very much gotta fight not to say Ghislaine. Whatever. She's
Ghislaine.
not
I know. I
right.
felt
She's
the
very,
same way how
very
people.
intelligent. She doesn't like she has no time for stupid. Um,
That's
so some
one
of
thing
these
she's
girls
got right.
right. So a lot of these girls she would gravitate towards were very intelligent, but some of them were young and beautiful, and that always made me very uncomfortable. And say, hey, like, like I know she's helping you or whatever, but just watch your ass, okay? Like
Give her too much
don't
information
give her too much information. Right.
because then she
Um,
could use it against you for because she's so smart, she'll flip it on them somehow.
right. Right. Or I don't know, like I don't know, just because I knew who she was and I knew what she did and I the whole grooming aspect of what she did, uh, or allegedly did, I guess she's still in whatever. But it made me uncomfortable and I would just warn these girls like and this goes for any inmate, right? You don't know who any of these people are and we're in prison, so like basically
Mm-hmm.
almost everyone's a scumbag.
Mm.
Um,
Except you and Mickey Q and the other people, the other
Well, sure. The
J6ers.
J6ers, yeah, and all
Come
the inmates like
on.
are like, you don't belong here. And they all knew. They're like, what are you doing here? Like, oh, it doesn't matter where we were. They're
Mm.
like, you stick out like a sore thumb. You don't belong here. You're not one of us. Like everyone
Mm-hmm.
said that universally, including
Mm.
marshals and stuff. They're like, hey, I know I'm doing this terrible thing by locking you up and putting this black box on you, but you don't belong here. We're sorry. We're doing this to you. Click. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But J6ers aside, I mean, I don't know, you come across people, you're like, you don't belong here, you don't belong in prison. I don't know why you're here, and it's really, you feel bad for them, but there's nothing. But that you're talking about maybe 10% of the population or less, maybe five,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even
Mm-hmm.
that's going to, so you gotta kind of accept that, like, I'm gonna be living around a bunch of scumbags. Some of
Yeah.
them are murderers. I know a lot of murderers, like,
It's such a creepy. I mean, don't we all want to live in such a beautiful? kind and loving environment. When you keep hearing
Right.
about this stuff, it's just like, oh my gosh, can we just do away with all the bad people so we can live those lives? Because
Right.
I don't see that it's ever going to happen until everyone understands the truth, what's been happening in front of us. I don't see it
Right.
happening. I don't. I mean, I understand now a lot of the his famous sayings. That was a pre-program. That was the art of war, and that was genius because programs work good and bad, just like we were just talking about. Think about this. When you program the kids' heads enough, they're gonna monkey see, monkey do. So it can work
Right.
for bad, but it can also be used for good in the future. There's duality. And what I mean is he says that 4 to 6% won't make it when the truth is told, and that the ending won't be for everyone, and that where we go one, we go all. That's exactly what we're talking about until we can do away with admitting that if hello, there's bad people everywhere. What can we do about it? And I think once we all step up and we realize it, they won't, like he always says, they won't be able to walk the streets. The power is back to the people so that we can actually start forming the communities again that we've only dreamed of but have never had. Okay, I
For
digress.
sure.
Sorry. But
No, you're fine. The desensitization of our youth is the root cause here. You take parents out of the household, you put the state in, and then you use the educate or not education, yeah, entertainment systems, phones, TV, whatever,
social media,
as a
yep,
babysitter.
yep.
Exactly. And so kids are desensitized. They're constantly exposed to violence and sex and drugs and
That's a
alcohol or whatever.
great term. I got to write that down because that is so spot on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
So, no, you're
interrupt.
fine. You're fine. So,
It's
these
true.
kids are being raised to be normalized around all of these horrible things. And so, I mean, kids have had guns our entire history.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was in high school, kids had a shotgun rack and they had a shotgun in their truck. They would have
Hmm.
days off where like open season, deer season, they would open season, whatever. They go out and they go hunting and it was normal. They'd have shooting clubs in schools. Kids weren't going and lighting up all the schools all the time. This is a new phenomenon, and it's not the
Yeah,
AR-15, it's not the AK-47,
exactly.
it's not
It's the
any of these
program.
weapons of war. It's the program. It's because they're desensitized. They're fed a
That's a
steady
good point.
diet of despair, fear, and anger to the
Yeah.
point where they have no hope. They have nothing to achieve. They have no, I mean, the world's going to burn. So I'm going to take a few people with me. And they play these violent video games. They watch these violent shows. They're constantly seeing
Good point,
violent videos on
too.
YouTube.
The video games, those have been around for how long? I've
I mean,
never played them. I've only played a
I
couple
have.
video games in my
I
20s. That
played,
was it. I'm so
I love
glad.
video games. But there's a reason why it used to be
They,
difficult for, so listen, like 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, if a game was violent and graphic, you had to show ID to get it. Now there's no ID.
that's a
You just
good
go on the
point.
PlayStation Network and you hit download. I mean,
Yeah. And every
there's
parent
no
has had that
screen.
accident where the kids hack into and you're like, how did that end up with
They
these
didn't have to
packages?
hack.
But
Right.
you get what I'm
Like,
saying. That's a
right,
perfect,
exactly.
wow. That is a great way of putting it. I love
So they're just
that.
numb. There's nothing to achieve for. And then I mean,
And they don't
I'm,
hold the kids
I'm,
accountable. They're like,
I'm Buddhist,
oh, it's
but
okay. So you're
you
more
take,
spiritual. I love it.
I do prefer that to,
I am too. I am too.
I'm
But
not
I
like
think
a
Jesus
churchy
is in
God
that
kind of
spirit.
person. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's
Just saying. I
fine.
think
But
he's
like
coming soon. But just, oh.
you remove, okay, so whether you develop to be Christian or not, whatever, you take God or higher power out of the classroom and you replace it with the state. And then the state goes out and they bomb like, I don't know, whatever. Like you're taking morality out and you're replacing it with legislation. It's not a good replacement. It's not.
Yeah, that's no fun. First off, for the kids. Think
Well, I
about
mean, not
that.
only is it not fun, but like
But it's
it doesn't
becoming
teach
more
them
of a,
accountability. So if government isn't
mhm,
accountable to a god, then why should I be accountable to the state? Like
I agree.
why should I be accountable to anyone? And then mom and dad aren't home; they're working two jobs each, And
Exactly. So you can't
why
watch
should I
them.
be responsible to anyone but me? I am the highest power. And
I agree.
so if I want to go kill people, I can go kill people. And like, it's going to make me famous. So you look at like all the, like, that's why I think like, if somebody does like a mass shooting or whatever, we should burn their name from you don't exist anymore. We don't even know who you are. Like, it should be available to grand juries or legislator, but we shouldn't be putting it in the media and like putting this because then with all these future aspiring mass shooters are gonna hero
Yeah.
worship this person. You know, it's just an
Yeah. Yep.
look at that
Just
kid.
like we
Look at
said, the
that kid
program.
who exactly. Look at that kid who went to whatever. What was it called? Moscow, Idaho, or whatever. The one who like
Yes. And
trained
then
how to be a
didn't
serial
it make
killer.
sense to tear down the house after too? I'm like, gosh, there's
Right.
something fishy with the whole thing.
Right.
There's something going on. Well, Jessica, listen, we are creeping up on our 2 hour mark
That's all right.
already.
That's
Oh
all
my
right.
gosh.
It's been a good conversation. We got a lot in.
Yes, I would love to do a part two because the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff and some of the other topics and the J Sixers, oh my gosh, just so much. Thank you so much for your feedback too, for the whole transgender and transsexual and all that,
Sure.
because
We didn't even barely scratch the surface on it. I could
so
go
I
on for
think we
days
need
about it.
to, I would love to do a part two because I really wanted to get to the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff too. Not gonna lie.
Sure.
You plot
Sure. I
that
mean,
at the
we
last
we
second. I'm like,
covered that pretty
oh,
well, but
huh?
yeah. I
You're
mean, we covered
awesome.
most of it. There's not a whole lot more I can add on that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But I really appreciate you and your outlook on knowing, the transsexual information more than the average person. Thank you for sharing that
Sure.
because it really, I mean,
We didn't even get
that's
into military or any of that stuff, which
I
I'm against all that too.
know. We
So,
should do part two next week. You want to do part two
okay.
next week? I love
Okay.
it. Well,
All
listen,
right.
Jessica, real quick, where can people find you if they'd like to reach out or connect with you?
I'm really only on X. I don't really do anything else. I mean, I have a Rumble
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, but I never do nothing. So on X, it's just my name, Jessica Watkins. You just replace the E and just with a six, so it's J6SSICA Watkins and that's at X.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Uh, any last words of encouragement about what's going on in this world? Something you can offer to people in like a minute or less.
We're getting there, folks. Uh, Trump is doing all the right things. Don't lose hope. Yes, I'm upset about this Epstein list, but don't give up hope. Don't give up hope on the administration. We still got a lot of work to do. We're doing big things and we're going to keep doing more. So,
I
go.
love it. I love it. Thank you, Jessica. And
You're
for
very
our
welcome.
viewers, please, I want to get more everyday heroes like Jessica and anyone
I'm
else
not a
that you
hero.
know. You are a hero in my book because I don't put Hollywood on a pedestal. The everyday person that is stepping up, doing something that is right, that they know is right. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. It'll be you that allows me to get more of these guests so I can share. And please give it a like and subscribe and just tell your people and share it around. I would greatly appreciate that. And thanks again, Jessica. I really
You're very
appreciate it.
welcome.
Okay.
All right. Bye.